What's going on, people, and welcome back to totalozspurs. And let's get it in there, guys. We have finally broken the Liverpool curse. Tottenham 2,
Mm,
Liverpool 1. So much to talk about. Everything on Twitter, on every social media platform, about the refs, VAR, and the manner in which we won the game. There's so much to get into. But first of all, D, welcome back, brother. How are you feeling?
yeah, man. Look, after that game this morning, I'm buzzing. Finally broke the losing streak against Liverpool, and yeah, look, as you said, we got so much to talk about on this video.
Yeah, well, a lot of Aussie fans copped the changing of the hour. So we went into daylight savings at 2 a.m. an hour before the game. So I didn't get to bed till 5:30 this morning. Didn't fall asleep till 6:30. And I woke up at like midday thinking it was 10 o'clock. But before we get into it, guys, please make sure you are liking and smashing the subscribe button. On the road to 200, nearly hitting 160. So I appreciate everyone that has already subscribed. And apologies for the live watch along last night. I tried to sort some things out prior to it, pushed it back till the kickoff, but I couldn't get it resolved. And it being 3:30 in the morning, I did not want to try and stuff around with it and get on. So I decided just to watch the game and then get the video out. So appreciate everyone that was waiting and ended up missing out on the watch along. We'll make that up to you guys a later date. But D, first of all, I don't even know where to start. Let's be honest. Let's start with the result. Tottenham 2, Liverpool 1, and I called it on the show 2-1.
Oh yeah,
You
you called
said
it.
3-1. Other people said 5-2. I said 2-1. So once again, call me Conor McGregor because I'm Mystic Mac. I predict these things. 2-2 last week, 2-1 this week. But give me your thoughts generally about the game.
Generally, yeah. Look, my thoughts about the game going soon as straight off kickoff. We had a lot of possession. We were, going at them, just attacking them. Our midfield was doing that job. We looked decent in the middle, up front. Had a couple of good chances, but yeah, look, I think the likes of Matip and Van Dijk were just on point. Allison had a good stoppage, you know. But other than that, look, I think the whole game, I think we looked decent. We looked better than what Liverpool did. I think Adoji was keeping Salah quiet. He did a couple of times. I think Salah got down that right hand side a few times, but look, VDV just fucking shut him down. Um, Porro had an immense game. I think he was fantastic. The likes of Basuma, um, he was played well. Sal did really well. You get into those deep positions and link up with Basuma. Maz just does what he does. Richie, he was trying, decent. Sonny, he got that goal, which we'll talk about later. And then who was on the right? Yeah, Kulusevski. Look, he, I think he was a bit offish, but then there was a couple of glimpses he had that could have, been possible. But other than that, look, we dug deep. We went in hard and make sure we got that win.
Yeah, look, I mean, the performance was one thing, but the result is another. I did feel like we weren't as dominant as we may have been against Arsenal in terms of the way we went about the game. Liverpool did look quite comfortable, especially before the red card, and I was quite worried. And even after the red card, they actually looked better with 10 men, and then they went more direct, playing crossfield balls into the channels behind our left and right backs as they pushed up, and they got good success. We all know there's a disallowed goal that should have been a goal. I'm now hearing it's miscommunication from VAR and the referee. The VAR didn't look at it because they thought the ref called it a goal, and so let the on-field decision stand. And it turned out that the ref had called it offside, and so that's going to be another talking point for the community. But a special mention to VDV. His cover game is second to none. Gakpo isn't slow, and he outpaced him with a yard behind. He outpaced him to win that ball multiple times. Kept Salah quiet, kept Diaz quiet when they got in behind. A doggy. Salah was quite quiet. I think the only time he got opportunities was when they did the crossfield balls and they started playing in behind him when he pushed up. But he was still tracking back. Some greatly timed tackles. I think that was one of Adogi's best performances. And like I said, in the show, he went up against Saka and looked a bit shaky. Went up against the best right winger in the league and showed his bits. Showed his minerals. So and then for me, I've got to give Vicario a big shout because we could have been 1-0 down super early. He made a double save at close range. Gakpo actually scored his goal within the same manner of the first goal being saved by Vicario. And then he had Diaz coming in at the near post, blast it, and he saved it again. I don't think anyone had a bad game. Even the substitutes came on. I think people underrate how Skip didn't touch the ball when he came on, but if it wasn't for his pressure, I think towards the end, that caused us to win the ball back and give it out to Porro. We and the pressure in the box that he had on Matip, we probably wouldn't have won that game. There is a few things that I was a bit worried about, especially the way we transitioned going forward. Especially when we went down to 10 men, then 9, we didn't move the ball fast enough. It was like we're taking our time. We're trying to, pick.
I think Romero was slowing it down a little bit. He was slowing it down.
And I understand that we want to play to our system. We want to keep playing with our play style, but there was times where we would slow it down, and I'm going, this is the prime time. Like, let's just hit him hard. Hit the 1-2, one touch, 2-touch football. Get the ball, turn, pass, run into channels, running behind. And that's where having the likes of Richarlison on and Kulu on, as opposed to Solomon and Johnson, is where I think the differences in those type of players is. But we'll get into the whole team. So if you didn't watch the game, if you were hiding under a rock, Jones got sent off for a studs up tackle on Basuma. Personally, I think it's unfair. I think it should have been a yellow, and but in the laws of the book, it is a red. Right off the top of the ball, him in the shin could have snapped his ankle, Basuma's ankle. Personally, can understand the red, but realistically, it happens all the time. It happened to Skip by Robertson. I think it's Skip last season. Didn't get a yellow on it. I think you got a yellow for that. So it's unfortunate for Jones, but I understand the red. Can be a red or a yellow on its day. And then Jota got a yellow when he didn't even touch the doggy, and then got a second yellow and sent off 5 minutes later. I'm going to say he should have had a yellow earlier than the first yellow. So I'm not even mad that he got sent off either, because when you're on, your yellow, and it's like, early, still fairly early. I think it was in the second half he got sent. Second half. You don't go into tackles like that when you're on the yellow, especially out near your halfway line. So that call was, for me, even though it's quite harsh, still.
I want to add on to that. I think he deserves it. After what he did last season to Skip with the high boot to the head, 100% deserves to get sent off, because I'm telling you right now, the whole Liverpool fans, whole Liverpool base, they're going to be pissed off with the VAR. But how can they when they get everything given to them when it comes to that kind of stuff?
Well, there's a reason why they call live VAR, Paul.
Because they just get everything given to them. And I'm telling you right now, payback's a bitch, because they deserve it. Because now the ball is in our court, and they didn't like it. After the whole Champions League with Sissoko, the Jota freaking boot to Skip's head, there was nothing done about it. I mean, karma could be a pain, and look what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole issue, and we'll get into that towards the end of the video of the issues that are surrounding this game. But look, Liverpool, like I said, I got to give props to Liverpool. Before we get into Tottenham, like in individual performances, Liverpool really did come, and when they played well, when they were 11 men on the pitch, went down to 10, got their goal, started playing a different style, went down to 9, parked the bus, and if it wasn't for a deflection, they could have got a draw. And I got to give it to everyone, and even Matip, I know he scored the own goal, but there was nothing he could do, just like Romero did it against Arsenal last week. it's unfortunate, but big ups to Liverpool for the way they went about it. And I want to say this as well. Big up to certain Liverpool fans, not all of them, because I used to, when Liverpool on that year when Stevie G slept, I wanted them to win the league, right? I thought Liverpool, high prestige. My uncle goes for Liverpool. Didn't have a problem with them. But some of their fans are insufferable. They're just as bad as Arsenal fans. And I started to hate them because a lot of people here in Australia support Liverpool too because of Harry Kill. And, it started becoming insufferable. So there is a few Liverpool fans out there that are actually realising that there's no point coming at Tottenham fans for the win. We should be celebrating this win because it's the first time we've won against Liverpool, I think, in 6 years. It's the second time we've won in like the last 13 years against Liverpool. And, they're actually going for the officials. And that's, I think, the real problem with this game was the officials. It's not what any team did wrong. It was the way the game was managed. But getting to the players, Big Vic for me was great in goal. I couldn't do anything about the second, their goal. Couldn't do anything about it. It was a great turn by Gakpo. Ended up hurting himself doing it, but was a great turn. Saved those 2 close range shots. The Diaz goals that should have stood. There's not much he could do there. Diaz hit it perfectly. So I think Big Vic had a great game.
Yeah, man, I think he had a great game as well. It's just our defense let that ball go to Gakpo, and obviously he turned and shot. So I mean, Big Vic, look, gotta give him props. Coming from Serie A, from Empoli, a relegated team, to come into this Tottenham team, we had no clue about him, didn't know much about him, didn't know how good he was going to be, and man, he's really shown his colours, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Big Vic. I'm actually trusting him. I really trust him. And he could be the next best thing, coming through the system.
Yeah, well, he hasn't shied away from the challenge. Let's just say that.
No, 100%.
I want to hear your thoughts on the defense because you've heard a little bit of my thoughts. What's your thoughts on how our defense went?
Apart from Madoji and Odogi, and Poro, they were the two, and VDV, they were our best 3. Remember, did have a couple, ups and downs. He did make a couple of good tackles, but then that Gakpo goal that shouldn't have happened. I think VDV he just was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He didn't see his man and didn't go to him, and then that's what made Gakpo turn. So I mean, apart from that goal, our defense was pretty solid. It just that goal shouldn't have happened.
Oh, 100%. I've got to give big ups to Poro. Poro, I know they were getting in behind him. Diaz was getting in behind him a lot, but he was bombing up and down that wing. And before they went down to 10 men. He defensively did nothing wrong for me. He shut down Diaz. Doggy shut down Salah. Gakpo had nowhere to go. The only problem is they were starting to realise that they can get, if they put balls across the goal with the opposite winger running in, they could get opportunities. And I agree with you. The defence wasn't, I think Romero was the worst, but he towards the back end of the game, he did make a fair few good tackles and intercepts that really helped the counter attack, stop the counter attack. But going on to midfield, I don't. Apart from Szoboszlai, their midfield was non-existent. Obviously, Jones got sent off, but McAllister, I don't see him as this holding midfielder. It just looks weak for me, and I don't think he had a great game, and he pretty much was non-existent for most of the game for me. But I will say towards the back end of the game, I felt like Sarr needed to be pulled off, not because I felt like he was having a bad game, but because I felt like he kind of lost his head and didn't know what to do. Because it was such a high-profile game with end-to-end at most of the game. It really did feel like he kind of not lost his head, but just didn't know where he needs to be to win the game. And that's where maybe a more experienced head like Højbjerg could have sat back in that Basuma role and then pushed Basuma forward so Basuma could take the Sarr role more on, and that way then we could have transitioned better going forward and could have scored a goal a lot earlier. But any thoughts on the midfield battle? Because I felt like that was where we were strongest throughout the whole game.
Oh yeah, I feel like it was. Our midfield was a lot solid than their one. As you said, Szoboszlai was the only man. I think McAllister didn't really do much. And Jones, obviously, he got sent off. So I mean, Yeah, look, our midfield was pretty much the solid one out of both. Yeah, as you said, Saar was losing a bit of his head. So, I mean, Ange did the right thing by pulling him off and bringing on Højbjerg. But I feel like maybe Bazuma could have stayed on. As you said, push him into that Saar role and, push him up further and have Højbjerg just sitting back. Because Højbjerg can do the job as well. He can do the Bazuma job as well. And then obviously, I would like to see Matt stay on, but I think he was just doing a lot of running, and I think he was getting a bit fatigued. So I mean, I think Ange made the right call by pulling him off and bringing on
Do you
Skip.
though? Do you? I don't.
Mm,
For the second week in a row,
mm,
I've questioned Ange on this Sonny Madison switch when we need to win the game or we need a goal. They are the only two that look like they are guaranteed to score,
yeah, I
or
know, I
guaranteed
understand.
to assist. But I do understand it. We don't want to burn out Madison and get him a major injury, and then we lose him for 6 months, and then our season's
Yeah,
pretty much derailed going forward because we don't have a backup because Gio's also injured.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, look, I like to question it because for me, that was one of the points I wanted to make was like pulling off Madison and Sonny when we need a goal is weird. You pull off your best two chances of scoring, and maybe Ange knows more than us, and he thinks that he can rely on other players to do it. He did rotate the team a little bit,
mm,
change the tactics up, but get into that forward line before we get into all the changes. Richarlison on the left instead of Solomon. Felt like it kind of worked. Obviously, he assisted for the goal. It was a great run behind the line, perfectly weighted ball by Madison.
perfectly
Great
run.
ball into the box, and Sun timed his run to perfection. Was a great goal. That's what I want to see more of Madison and the wingers. However, I felt like he wasn't. We didn't when we got the ball down the channels on Kulu. Kulu was cutting in a hell of a lot, and I felt like he never took Robertson to the line.
Mm,
Robertson's aging. He's not as quick as he used to be. And he was on a yellow. He should have been running at him all day, making him make mistakes. And that's the one thing Kulu stopped doing is running at. Well, I don't think he ever did really, but he doesn't run at the left back. And Richarlison wasn't running at Joe Gomez. And Gomez isn't that quick. And Gomez at the start looked a bit shaky, and he was their weaker side last week. Got exposed again, and I don't know why. I understand starting Richie. Richie had, kind of good vein of form, came on, got him a goal, got an assist, half
mm,
decent performance against Arsenal when he came on. But this game, I felt like Solomon should have started. That's just
mm.
my opinion. Obviously, Richarlison got the assist, but I felt like Solomon could have done that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think Solomon should have started as maybe Richard could have come on, maybe towards the end of the probably like 20 minutes before the end of the second half. But I think Solomon should have started this game. I think he would have done a lot more. I think he would have turned Joe Gomez inside out. He's got incredibly great feed, great dribbling, way better. And as you say, Gomez is not the quickest. So, I mean, but then you got to look at it. Gomez was getting forward a little bit on that right. He was getting forward a little bit, but not as much. So, yeah, I think Richie had a decent game. I would like to see a little bit more from him. I think when Sonny went off and he went into the middle, that's why I feel like he didn't go. He just kind of died off. He wasn't
Mm.
getting the service he was. So I mean, yeah, look, and as you said about Kulu, he kept cutting in too much. He needs to. This needs to go out as a player. Like as you said, Robertson was on the yellow. He should have gone at Robertson, just niggled him. Robertson does have a hot head. He is Scottish, so he has a hot head. So I mean, he will
We
have a temper.
stereotype here. We stereotype here in Oz. Yeah.
Well, he does have a hot head, so I mean, he will snap. And you
Yeah.
can see on the pitch, he was losing his head. So I mean, that's where you go at him. That's where Kulu. If I was Kulu, we're going, okay, I'm running at you now because I know you're gonna snap if you don't get me. So I mean, look, I think Kulu just needs to do a little bit more thinking in those kind of situations. But as you said, yeah, great ball from Madison to Richie, and Richie, great ball to Sonny to get that goal. So can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, well, and then we look back on the subs. So Sonny came off for Solomon, and then we rotated Richarlison into the middle. Felt like that was probably should have just taken Richarlison off and left Sonny there, if I'm honest. Especially we don't have a mid. I don't think we have a midweek game. Next game's Luton. Um,
Mhm.
I think we're Luton away next week.
Yeah,
But for me that. that's a game where you can afford to start Richarlison and rest Son if Son's not 100%.
Yeah.
And then we took off. We brought up. We took. I think we took off Basuma and who was our other winger? Sorry, Basuma and Madison. And then we chucked on Ben Davies and Skip, I think it was.
Yeah, and Adogi come off as well.
And Adogi came off. Madison, Sarr, Basuma, Adogi, and Sonny came off, and we brought back on, Veliz, Solomon, Højbjerg, Skip, and Davies. Now,
sorry, bro. I gotta give a special mention to Veliz. Having his first starting debut game against Liverpool. I don't think he really touched the ball. I don't think he touched the ball once, but I mean, getting your first debut against Liverpool is a massive achievement for himself. So I mean, big ups to him, and hopefully, he gets to start, maybe feature on the bench for the next game against Luton, and maybe gets a few minutes in that game.
Well, the thing is, you got to big up Ange for one, for trusting the guy, young player. Never, he's freshly new in the country, never played a wink of football, played for the youth team. I was going to mention him at the end because I think he could have scored a goal. I think if Matip didn't hit that in his own net, Veliz was behind him, and I think Veliz was going to win that. He's a big 19-year-old. He's quite big. I didn't realize how strong he is. And his celebration at the end, he was well in with the team. And what a game, what a win for him to make his debut. So big up Veliz for coming on and enjoying and experiencing what we bring here at Tottenham. But the changes for me were quite wild at some stages. I don't know why Skip and Davies came on. I understand Adogi was on a yellow. Could have, that where he tripped over and he clipped. I think he clipped Gakpo, and I think he got his yellow for it, but it shouldn't. That led to the goal. Really shouldn't have been. But I feel like I understand why he came off for Davies. Fresh legs. He was up and down that wing all game. But Davies against Salah, like that worries me. I would have rather Royal down there, to be honest. There is one thing though. I thought Kulu should have come off, and we should have chucked Porro further up and had Royal behind him, just to shore up the defense and say, Royal, you stay on Diaz or whoever is on that left to just make sure they don't get in behind, and we'll let Porro get forward because Porro was once again putting those crosses in, and then we pretty much attack died with Højbjerg and Skip coming on, and that's where I questioned a bit, like, why are we pulling off Madison and Son when we need a goal? Because you pulled off Madison, 90th minute, we needed a goal. We had, was it 10 minutes, 8 minutes? I think it was 8 minutes we had.
6 minutes or something like that.
Oh, yeah, 6 minutes. Yeah, 6 minutes. We had 6 minutes. Yeah. There's no point pulling him off 6 minutes before the game ends. Like, what's 6 minutes going to do? I understand there could be an injury in there and stuff, but for me, really should have stayed on. But you can't really argue with the result. Like I said last week against Arsenal, don't think Madison and Son should have been pulled off, but then you can't argue with the result. And I got to big it up to Ange once again. It's the third big team now. We've played 3 of the top 7 teams in Europe, and we've got 2 wins and a draw.
Yeah,
can't complain.
I'm not complaining, man. Look, he's come in, done his job. He's played to his game, and look, I think this whole group, this whole team is really starting to, be in love with this, Ange. And as I think we said it on our show on Saturday, I think they said Ange is like a father figure, and you can really see it. He's really getting to these players. The crowd was getting into him; they were loving him, and I mean, can't complain. He's just come and done his job, and look, he's starting to grow. He's really growing on me now, and look, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I think we all are. But for the final bit of this video, I do want to get into the officials. Now, I'm going to be honest and say that the officials were disgusting. VAR, that mistake of not calling up, the onside and making sure the goal was allowed. We have to be honest. If that was us, we feel robbed. However, I'm going to say one thing and one thing only. This happens to us all the time, and like you said, the skip. We have the handball of Sissoko. We have the offside goal that was ruled. No, the onside goal that was ruled offside for Kane against Liverpool. There was fouls on Sonny and a disallowed goal on Son, then they score, go back in the other end and score. We've had so many of these calls. It's nice to be on the end of a controversial call, and it sounds really bad, but it's not anything against Liverpool. It's the officials, and I've got to say it, like, there's got to be something that we can do as fans to really change the way these officials do, because you look at the handball last week against Romero. How the hell is he meant to move his arm? What's he meant to do? Like, do this, tie his arms up and run around the pitch without his arms. You use your arms for balance. You use your arms to gain a bit of extra height when you jump. When you go sliding in, you use your arm to brace your body so you don't slide everywhere out of control. When you are blocking, you lean back. You use your arm to balance, or to soften the fall when you hit the ground. Like, I think it's Liverpool, and I've seen it. And this is what I wanted to say about Liverpool fans. There's a lot of them that are saying that you can't blame Tottenham. You can go off and say, "Oh, Tottenham don't deserve it," this and that. But at the end of the day, it's the officials. And for me, the officials need to be looked at across the whole league, not just there for us, not just for Liverpool, for everyone, because they're really, really, hurting the game. There's a lot of controversial calls. They brought VAR in. They're not drawing the lines properly. You look at NRL, right? We had the NRL Grand Final tonight, 26-24. I didn't watch the game. Don't really follow NRL anymore. But I've in previous games that I've watched, video ref, sometimes you get about 3-4 times, a game, depending on how many tries are scored. They have 4 or 5 multiple angles of when a ball can touch a blade of grass on the ground when they score a try. They can slide by slide depict the moment the ball is placed, when the player is getting knocked out of the sideline, and they plant the ball in the corner of the try line before they go out, and they can pinpoint when their studs touching the grass. How comes we can't get a proper offside rule done where it's quick, easy, multiple angles, bird's eye view, side on view? I don't think you see the NRL games. They have these cameras on these strings or drones that fly across the whole game, and they follow the play. They do it in football too. I don't know why VAR is so controversial, especially in England. It's so poor, and the people behind it are so poor. And like I said, there's no explanation, there's no reasoning, and that when the ref went up to the VAR monitor, instead of showing the whole incident straight away, they're showing the studs up on Basuma.
Yeah.
Now, for me, if that's me, I'm looking, going, oh, they're telling me, look at this. This should be a red. They didn't show the whole moment, and obviously, even if you saw it, you probably go, "Oh, it's a red." But it's the way they're doing it is horrible, and the way that I've got to give props to like NRL, especially because they've had it for years here. I've been here 20 years. They've had it since I've moved here. There's been no controversy over video refs. It's actually the referees on the pitch not being able to ref properly, not the video ref. Who one guy, and they when they speak in the ground and on TV, you hear exactly what they say in their reasoning, and 9 times out of 10, not even, I think 99% of the time, they get their call correct. They even have a captain's challenge, which is if there's a foul that happens and the team feels like it shouldn't have been a foul or it should have been a penalty, they can challenge it, just like in cricket, just like in tennis, when you can challenge, and it's 2 minutes, bang, done, decision made, and 99% of the time they don't get it wrong.
But I think the officials kind of really, they're really poor, across this whole league, and it's starting to get really questionable. Where it's not just happening in our game, it's happening every other game. Like United games, the Crystal Palace games, just all games across the whole Premier League. Just little incidents like that, like the handball from America against Arsenal, like HJ, like where's he meant to pull his arms? Like, is he meant to pull him out of the way so the ball does go past him? Like it's starting to get ridiculous now on these calls, and they need to do better. They need to do a lot better and get a lot better system, or get more cameras involved, because the fans are going to start losing it at VAR, and they're going to start questioning and go off about these officials not making the right calls, and it's going to ruin the game. It's going to ruin the whole game. It's going to ruin just the just the football in general, and we don't want that as fans. But if VAR keeps going the way it is, it's going to ruin the game. And I'm sorry, but it's going to probably start a riot between clubs and officials.
Well, that's the thing. I think what's wholesome for me is seeing that Liverpool fans are actually saying, you know what, like as much as Tottenham may have not have won if we had 11 on the pitch, we can't really blame them for celebrating the win, and we can't be mad at them for the decisions that we made. You know, everyone's going to be happy about a last minute winner, irrespective of what happens on the pitch, especially with our record against Liverpool and being at home. It was a hard fought battle, and that's why I big up Liverpool for the way they played, the way they handled it, the way they handled going down to 10, then 9 men. Big ups to themselves, but unfortunately, that's what happens. Champions League final, for instance, handball gets Sissoko in the first 30 seconds, literally derails our whole Champions League final. We never came back from it. Not saying we would have won the Champions League final, but at the end of the day, we couldn't blame Liverpool for it. I didn't blame Liverpool for it.
No,
it was just poor officiating. So
yeah.
But we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Before we go, I do want to mention we did speak about EAFC on clubs, for the last couple of months. However, it's quite it's not fixed. It's not actually released properly by EAFC, so that'll be on the back burner for a little bit. But once that's up and running properly, we will get that content out for you guys. I know a few guys here wanted to see that, so just keep your ears out for that. Big up Delane for jumping back on. It's 11 on a Sunday night. Luckily, we got a public holiday tomorrow, so we get to enjoy our sleeping. But big ups to everyone that watched the video. Make sure you do smash a like and subscribe to the channel again. Road to 200. Comment down below your thoughts and your feelings. And yeah, guys, that's it from us. Take it easy. Stay safe, guys. And as always, stay Spursy.
Stay Spursy, guys.